5 lessons that the Matildas learnt from the Spain and Portugal friendlies. Lesson number 1. There is a very clear gulf in class between the top sides and Australia. For the past good part of a decade or so, Australia was one of the top teams in women's football. But what we've learnt from these friendlies, especially that Spain performance, is that there is a real gulf in class and quality. Spain they weren't just the better team, they were in a completely different class. And it's quite fascinating when you look at the rankings. I mean, Spain ranked 7th, Australia ranked 12th. We're not that far off them on the rankings. Before I tell you Portugal's ranking, I want you to guess right now. What do you think Portugal's ranking is? Maybe 9th, 10th, just ahead of us, or maybe just behind us? Portugal are ranked 30th. 30th in the world, which kind of just puts it into perspective how lackluster these performances by Australia in these friendlies were. And maybe our ranking doesn't truly reflect where we are at the moment in terms of our form as a national team. Lesson number 2 that we learned, and it's more of a question that arose not just from me, but it's something that I saw from across social media. Do we have an over-reliance on Sam Kerr? Look, Sam Kerr is one of the best footballers in women's football. Look, it's not just a Matildas issue, but it happens in any football club, any major football team. When there's star players missing, the question comes up, is there a reliance on that player? Look, I don't want to go as far as to say that there is, but it's a fair point to raise that question now. In these friendlies, one of the main problems that we saw, very blunt moving forward, there was no focus, there was no drive going forward, and there was a lack of conviction in front of goal too. We had a couple decent chances in both games, and we just failed to take them. Do we have an over-reliance on Sam Kerr? It's quite an interesting thing, and something that I think we just have to think about over this next 12 months. Lesson number 3, Australia coach Tony Gustafsson has to be able to adapt better in these difficult situations. So you go back to the Spain game. We did get outplayed in that first half. We needed to change things around. We were playing that really negative 5-4-1 formation. We barely got out of our own half. That was the time where you needed to change something up. Maybe bring on some more creative players. Gustafsson refused to do that, and in turn we conceded 6 goals in the second half. We conceded 6 goals in one half of football. I've just got question marks now around Gustafsson and what is his game plan heading into games. Number 4 is we need to improve if we want to be successful at our own World Cup. Australia and New Zealand are hosting the Women's World Cup. Just imagine, man, on home soil, Australia winning a World Cup, what it would do, not just to inspire young girls in our country playing football, the exposure that it would give football in Australia. And, you know, you could argue about this. But for me, we should be heading into this World Cup with the expectation to win it. Can this current Matildas crop and the coach in charge do it? And the last point I wanted to make is a bit of a simple one. What is our best formation? We saw a bit of experimentation from Gustafsson in these friendlies, which I don't think was the right move heading into these friendlies against some major teams. This is a great chance to test our full-strength squad. Look, I'm all for, giving minutes to young up-and-coming players, but I don't know if this was the right time to do it. And to shift formations around as well. Play the team in a 5-4-1 formation where many players didn't look that comfortable. For me, it's still that 4-3-3. It's an attacking formation, and it gives a chance for players like Katrina Gorry, like Emily Van Egmond, and then a front 3 of whether it's, Sam Kerr, Caitlin Ford, Emily Gilnick, whoever it is playing up top to really shine. For me, those are the 5 lessons that I think that we learned from these Spain and Portugal friendlies. Plenty of work to be done over the next few months.